Okay, good. Okay, then. Let me just share my screen with you. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay. So how, let's say in one move in this position, I want you guys to give my opponent a check in one move. So we are white and we want to check the king in one move. How should we do it?
Move your rook to D8.
Yeah. Yeah, so we want to move the king, the rook, all the way to D8. Now this is a check. Is it just a check or is it also checkmate?
It's checkmate.
Yeah, so this is also checkmate. So you see, you don't even need the king in this situation to give a checkmate. You just checkmate. This checkmate is a very special kind of checkmate. It's called a back rank mate. And well, it's easy to understand why it gets its name because this is the back rank. So these are called ranks. We call them ranks in chess. You can call them rows, but it doesn't matter. And this is the furthest back one, right? So it's checkmate on the furthest back rank. Great. Now this one's really famous. The reason it's famous is because it happens a lot. So a lot of times in chess, if you remember, this is what it is. This is like how you start off the game. And then eventually you guys will play and stuff will happen. And then he'll get his pieces out. And then once his pieces are out, he'll usually do something that's a castle, right? And in this castle position, you see all three of these pawns are forward. And so he kind of sets himself up for a back rank. He already makes sure that his king can't come out anymore. So if you can just get these guys out of the way, you could maybe get a back rank. So back rank mates happen a lot in chess, especially near the end of the game, because in the end of the game, their rooks are gone, their queens are gone, and all they're left with is a king and three pawns, in which case you can just go ahead and checkmate them. Now, another good thing about back rank mates is they kind of don't allow his pieces to move. So for example, let's say he decided to move the rook up here. Do you think that would be a good move for him? Why not? Why would that be a bad move for him?
Because now white can back rank mate.
Yeah, this is now a checkmate, a back rank mate. Okay, so we just learned something. We learned that as long as these three pawns are here, this rook cannot go down anymore, right? We just learned that. Okay. So what do you think we should do? No, not now. What do you think we should do here? What's a good move here in your opinion? Well, let's look for if there's any pieces that are unprotected. This rook isn't attacked. This bishop has attacked once. How many defenders are on this bishop?
One.
One. But remember what I just said, this rook isn't allowed to move, is it? Because if it comes down, what happens? We back rank mate. So if the rook isn't allowed to move, then how many defenders are actually on this bishop?
None.
Yeah, because the rook isn't allowed to move. So what can we do right now if it's our turn?
We can take it.
Yeah, we can go ahead and take this bishop. Once again, because if I take the bishop, his rook won't kill me. Because if he does, I can give him a check, and then this is a mate. Well, it's not actually a mate. He can actually block, but then we can kill him, and then it's a mate. So it doesn't matter if he blocks or not. It actually doesn't matter how many times he blocks. Here, let me show you an example. Let's say like this, okay? Let's say he has these four rooks, okay? If I check him, he can block with as many rooks as he wants. It won't matter. I'll still checkmate him. He can block with this one. I'll kill it. This one, I'll kill it. This one, I'll kill it. And then eventually he'll run out of rooks and it'll be checkmate. So we don't really care about what blocks. Okay. Okay, now let's see if you guys can figure out what is the best move in this situation. Well, let's look at what we're attacking. This is a piece that we are attacking. How many times are we attacking that piece? How many attackers?
2.
2 attackers, great. 1, 2. How many defenders?
1.
Yeah, 1. Because technically you could say, okay, this guy will defend and then the guy behind him will defend. But remember, this guy behind him won't defend because he can't move downwards. This guy here is stuck. So this is the only attacker. So we can just go ahead and take the rook. I take, he takes, I take, and then can he take back? No, because it'll just be a back rank mate. Good. So that's the technique of a back rank mate. Let's try this. Okay. What should you do right now? Well, what are we attacking? We're attacking this square. How many attackers do we have?
2.
Yeah, this guy is attacking and this guy can come after. And how many defenders does he have?
1.
So let's say we kill this guy. Do you think he should kill me or not? So who says yes, he should kill me?
Yeah.
You think he should kill me? Well, what will happen when he kills me?
Will be a background mate.
Yeah. So the best move for black, once I kill his rook, is actually just not to kill me. Instead, he could maybe push a pawn and now he can run away or something like that. But if he kills me, I can just win. Okay. So now you might be wondering, wow, this back rank mate thing is pretty strong. So how do I get out of back rank mate? Okay, well, he's about to checkmate me, back rank mate me in one move. How do I get out of it? Can you think of a way to get out of him checkmating me right now?
Move one of your pawns.
Yeah, you can move one of my pawns. Anywhere you move it is fine. So you can create this little hole for the king to escape to. So now when he's checked, he can just run away. Another thing you could do, so you can move any pawn anywhere and that will create enough space for the king to run away. Great. Another thing he can do is he can just move his king out here. So now you check him. Sorry. And he'll go to e7, right? So no longer back rank mate. Okay. So there are ways to stop back rank mate. Now let me show you some things people don't think of. Okay, hold on. Take. Okay. Okay. So how do you checkmate here? Can you find a way to checkmate him here in a couple moves, maybe? We're white, by the way.
You can move the rook to c8.
Yeah. So if for example, I only had one rook, if I moved it to c8, his rook would kill me, right? But since I have 2 rooks, I can go ahead and move my rook to c8. He'll kill my rook, and then I'll just kill him. And now it's a back rank mate. Great. Let's try this method. Do you think it's possible to checkmate here? Because look, he has 2 rooks, but only one of them is on the back rank. Do you think it's possible to checkmate here? The answer is the answer is no, you can't checkmate here. As long as black is smart, there's no way to checkmate here. Here's why. Let's say I do c8. If he takes, I take, he comes back, and then I take. So that's checkmate. No doubt that's checkmate. But there's actually something he can do instead of taking. So I'm going to check here. If he takes, I checkmate. But does he have to take? Is there anything else he can do to stop this attack? So killing is one option. Running away is not an option because his king can't run away. What is the third thing he can do to get out of check?
You can block.
Okay, great. How does he block? This is the attack. How do you block this attack?
He can use his rook and move it to e8.
Okay, but won't I just kill it? Check.
Then you have the other rook.
Yeah, and now the other rook can kill, and now there's no checkmate. So you really got to think this stuff through, but usually you should be fine. Okay. So that is what a back rank mate is. Sometimes you should actually, so I'll show you, for example, okay. Like this, okay? So sometimes you can't make a you don't have a back rank mate right now. Why? Because, well, if you check him, he will escape. He has two places to escape to, right? So sometimes you have to make your own back rank. You need to make sure he doesn't escape. He doesn't escape to here or escape to here. So how do you make a back rank? How do you make a back rank first? And then checkmate him with it. Is there any way to stop him from escaping?
You can move the pawn to f6.
Yeah, if I move a pawn to f6 right now, he won't escape here and he won't escape here. So in other words, this, and this square are all stopped. And that's what a back rank is. 3 squares where he can't move to. In which case, no matter what he does, let's say he goes here, this is checkmate. Even if he doesn't go there, if he goes here, can you find a checkmate still? Okay, show me. Yeah, d8 is still a checkmate because he can't kill me because I'll kill him and he can't come here or anywhere. So, yeah. Okay, now let me show you the difference between a king and a queen. Sorry, a rook and a queen. Okay. Here, if I bring my rook to d8, will it checkmate him? Yes or no? No, why not? Why won't it checkmate him?
Because he can go to e7.
But what if this was a queen? If I went up here with a queen, would it checkmate him? Yeah, because a queen can also stop diagonal attacks. Okay, good. All right. Now let's talk about things with bishops. All right. So let's say you are in this situation. Like this, okay? Now you want to find a way to checkmate him. Okay, well, it's tough because he's kind of surrounded himself. But you have a pawn here. Okay. This pawn could do a lot of damage if you know where to put him correctly. So can you think of a way to checkmate, to maybe bring your queen into here so that you can attack him?
Kill this pawn and then kill the other pawn and then kill the king.
So that's not a bad idea. You could kill pawns, but if you kill a pawn, he will kill you. And now you don't really have a checkmate going for you. Sorry, do you have your hand up? If you don't, yeah, just say it, whatever you were gonna say. Someone has their hand up.
You can
Sorry.
also
Yeah.
kill. You can use your the queen to kill the pawn, and then the king will be in checkmate.
He won't be in checkmate because he can actually kill your queen right now. Yeah,
You can move your pawn up to f6.
sure. And now when we move our pawn up to f6, where are we attacking? Where are we trying to go to? What's the point of this move?
To get your queen to g7.
Yeah, we want to get our queen here eventually. So let's move my pawn up here. And let's say he does a move. Doesn't really matter what move, like this move. Okay. Okay. Now we want to get our queen here eventually. So where should I move my queen right now?
To h6.
Yeah, h6. And now there's no way to stop this. This is an unstoppable checkmate. So he'll probably check you a bit, and then he'll just give up, and then you'll mate. So these are all just really common checkmates, but yeah. Let's say you are here. What is the best move in this situation? So this might be like something you'll see in a game. What is the best move in this situation? What is the best move in this situation?
Move your queen to h6.
Yeah, so once again, you want your queen to come here so that you can checkmate him here. And he'll do something and then you'll mate him. Great. Great, great, great. Okay, let's see if you guys can checkmate with rook and bishop. So right now, you will try and bring the rook all the way down here to give him a check. Will that cause a checkmate? Everyone says no, and it's probably because he can escape. So if we want to give our kings a checkmate, but we don't want them to escape, what do we have to do? We don't want him to run away to here. So what do we have to do to stop him from running?
You
Use
can move the bishop to
You can
f6.
use the bishop to like go
Yeah, you
the
got it.
V shape. And then
Yeah, you got it.
walk off
So
this side.
f6 or h6. Now, here's the trick to know which one. So if you come to h6, he can actually move his pawn up and now he can run away. Okay? But if you go to f6, here's what will happen if he moves his pawn up. What do you think you should do now? What's the only thing you can do? I mean, the bishop's in the right place, so what can you do?
Move your rook to c8.
Let's give him a check. And now what? Is there any other
Walks into
checks?
the
Then move it to h8.
Yeah, go ahead. And that's checkmate. So the trick here is if you go to, if you're trying to decide between f6 and h6, notice that in h6, you only attack in one direction. But in f6, you attack in both directions. And that's better because then you'll give him a nice checkmate. So go with the one with the more attacking power. Go with the one with more directions. Now here's another puzzle that we find very often. Okay, very, very often. I'll just do this. Now, this. Okay. Okay. So when we're trying to figure stuff out, the first thing we can do is let's first notice who is even winning. Who is winning in this situation? So what do you guys think? Who is winning? White or black? In your opinion, who looks like they're doing much, much better?
Black.
Yeah, black looks much, much better. I mean, look at this. He has two rooks, a queen and a bishop. And all we have is a queen and a rook. And even beyond that, This is almost a checkmate, right? Didn't I just say it's almost unstoppable? And also he's threatening check here, because if he takes this, I can't take him back. It's a pretty strong check. And then he'll checkmate me here. So overall, black is doing really good. In fact, he's doing so good that he's going to checkmate me next move when it's his turn. Now, when you're about to be checkmated in one move, every move you make, okay, you have two options. You can either A, somehow stop the checkmate. In this case, that's not possible because he has two different checkmates and you can't stop them both, okay? Your only other option is you have to check him, because when you give him a check, he has no other option but to respond to that check. So in other words, you have two options. You can either stop his attack or distract him. You can't stop his attack right now because he has two different attacks. So the only other way to go forward is to distract him, and that's by checking. Checking is what I mean by distraction. So what checks do we even have here? Well, we can take with pawn, we can take with queen, and there's actually one other check. Can someone spot another check?
You can move your rook to h8.
Yeah, so there's three checks here. And now the smart thing to do is figure out which one's the best. Okay. The best one is the one that leads to more checks. So if we take with queen here, he'll take our queen. We check him, he takes, and now we cannot checkmate with just a rook. So we can check him a bit, but then we're going to run out of checks. So it's not going to work. Okay. What if we take with the pawn? Well, if I take with the pawn, he's going to take me. And then if I want, I can maybe lose my queen, and then he'll take, and then we're in the same situation as before. So what's my only choice? If both my pawn and queen don't work, then what do I have to do here?
Move your rook.
Yeah, I have to check him with my rook. There's no other option. If I make any other move than a check, he'll just checkmate me. So I have to check him. Now, his only option is he has to take it because he can't go left or down here or anything. So he has to take it. Now we're in the same situation as before. He's about to checkmate me. So what do I have to do?
Move your queen to h1.
Yeah, we have to give him a check. So you can move it to h1 or h3. Both of them give him the same check. Now he moves. Now remember, the attacks are still coming, so we have to keep checking. So what do I do now?
You can move your queen to h7.
Now he moves. And now you have 1, 2, 3 checks, 3 unique checks, but only one of them is good. So which one?
h8.
Yeah, and that's checkmate. Okay. So you guys didn't even need to figure everything out. You just need to realize that if you're about to die, your only option is to check. So you can eliminate a lot of moves. Let me show you another example of this. Okay. We have, actually, no, I shouldn't do that. Okay. We have all these guys, but we're about to get checkmated. So what move must I make right now?
Rook to h8.
Yeah, I have to check him. There's no other choice. Okay, he takes, and now what? Just remember, you have no choice but to check him. So what other options do you have?
You can move your queen to h5.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't see that. Queen h5. And then you're right. And then this is checkmate. Okay, I need to eliminate the queen to h5. Okay. Here, I will do this. There we go. So let me start over. Now you're not allowed to do that loophole. Okay, once again, you have nothing to do but check. So what will you do? You shouldn't go queen to h5 because he'll just kill your queen. So what else can you do?
Move your rook to h8.
He takes. Now what?
Move your rook to h1.
He moves back. Now what?
Move your rook to h8.
Yeah, h8, he takes. And remember, these, you don't need to think about what is going to happen. These are the only choices you have. So you have to just keep doing h1, h8, h1, h8, until eventually you'll get to the queen. Now you can go ahead and h7, and then h8 is checkmate. So a lot of puzzles seem really, really complicated at first, but if you just notice that you're about to get checkmated, then you know that your moves have to either stop that mate right away, or they have to just give them check. There's no other option. It's the only way. And so you can just eliminate a lot of moves right away. Like right now, this looks really complicated from an outsider's perspective. Like this looks super complicated. I mean, there's so many things you could try and do. You could try and attack in so many different ways or do something. But once you realize that you have to give them a check, you know that there's only one move you can make each time. And then you just get yourself to the end. Great. Okay. So, yeah, that is good. Okay. Now, here's another way to solve problems. Okay. Let's say it's like this. Okay. Do rook here, 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 here. Okay. Okay. So let's say you're in this position. What move should you make? Wait, hold on. Let's say you're in this position. Now, which move should you make? Which move should you make? So before we actually make a move, let's consider what is even happening, okay? First off, we have these 3 pawns in front of our king. What does that even mean? What does that mean?
Black can back rank mate.
Yeah, so we have this threat of a back rank, okay? So now that we've noticed that, can I take this bishop, this free bishop here? Can I do that? No, because he'll back rank me. Okay, fine. I won't take the bishop. I have to stop him from back rank mating me. So can someone suggest me some ideas?
You can move one of your pawns.
So here you go. I'll move a pawn up. Great. Did that solve the problem? No. Why didn't it solve the problem? Why is it that he can still checkmate me here?
Because the bishop is attacking this g2 square.
Yeah, so you got to be careful which pawns you move up. Because right now, I can't actually move this pawn up because the bishop's still attacking that square regardless. So, okay. But if I move one of the other pawns, it would be fine, right? Okay. Let's say here. How would you solve this problem right here? So, okay, let's say let's say this is a bishop. Okay, so you have two white bishops and they're both attacking here. Actually, no, let's make it more realistic. A knight and a bishop, which are protecting this square. Now, if the knight and bishop weren't there, what would happen? What would black do?
Black would move their queen to g2.
Yeah, he'd checkmate you. I guess technically he could also back rank mate you right here, but it's good that the knight is here to prevent that, and it's good that the bishop is here to prevent that. Okay. Now, he has a knight here, okay? And he decides to take this bishop and give you check. And the question I want to ask is, how should you respond? What move should you make? So he just took your bishop. I'll even put it on an analysis board. He just took it. Oh no. Let's just put a pawn here. There. So he just took your bishop, and now you're in check. What should you do?
You can move your king to f1.
We can move it to f1. We can move it to h1. And that's a good question would be which one? And also we can take the knight. So first off, you didn't say take the knight, which is the obvious move. What's wrong with taking the knight?
The
Okay.
queen will checkmate you.
Where? I mean, he can't come to g2. I'll just kill him. I'm gonna go get the water. So the question here for everyone to think about is, why can't we just kill this knight here? It's a free knight, right? So what's the problem?
The queen will move to d6.
D6? Oh, wow. Okay. Sure, that's a good check. I guess we can run away at that point. And then I guess you can do this, but it doesn't really do much. There's actually another check that's really, really good here. D6 is a good idea. Is there any other checks? So if you can't figure it out, let's just look at all the ways that the queen can check our king, because he's the only one that can check him right now, right? Because the rook is behind here and the bishop cannot check a black squared because he's on a white square. So if the queen is on a white square, can he check the king diagonally? No, because the king is on a black square. So all of the queen's checks must be horizontal or vertical. So this is one check. If he comes to g6, this is a good vertical attack. Is there any horizontal attacks? Horizontals are ones that are going left, right, or right, left. Is there any way the queen can attack the king going left, right, or right, left? Any checks that he can give the king? Because we looked at the vertical one, didn't work. Is there any horizontal ones? Any checks that the queen can give the king going left, right, or right, left? Well, the king is here, so for it to check him and go left, right, right, left, it has to be on this file. Any of these squares work? No. Okay, well, let's look at all the squares that the queen can even go to. Okay, so none of these because they're not on that file. Maybe you guys can see it now.
On h1.
Yeah, so there's two places that the queen can go on this file. There's C1 and H1. H1 would give a checkmate, wouldn't it? Because he can't go anywhere. So that is why we don't take this knight right away. Because if we take it, he would check. That'd be bad. Checkmate. So now the only question is, should I go to the left or should I go to the right? Well, if I go to the right, sorry, if I go to the left, what checks does he have? What future checks does he have? Can he check me any other ways? Well, I am on a white square now. So either the queen or bishop can check me. This guy can't check me because he's on a white and he can't move to a black and then check a white. It just, don't worry about it. He just can't do it. So it's one of these guys. How would these guys check me?
The queen can move to b5 and the bishop can move to a6.
Yeah. And here's a trick, okay? If you see that two pieces are doing a lot of work, try and bring in a piece that's not doing a lot of work. So you see this bishop hasn't been doing anything this whole time. So let's bring him into the mix. So let's try an a6 check him. When you're in check, you can either kill, block, or run. Can we kill? No. Can we run? Where can we run? We can't run because here's stuck, here's pieces, and then here is actually protected by the knight. So we can't run. So the only other option is block. How do we block this?
You can move your knight to d3.
Yeah, d3. And in this position, okay, so this is blocked. So what should we do now? If it's blocked, what should black do now?
Black should take the knight.
Yeah, it's not protected, right? So we can go ahead and take it. That's check. And the king only has one square to go to. Where can he go?
e1.
E1. And now the knight can't check him. The bishop can't check him because he's on a black square. So if these two don't work, what should we do?
Use the queen to c1.
Yeah, c1. And this is actually checkmate because he can't go anywhere. So now we've realized that going to f1 is super, super bad. And it's pretty easy to see why, because he has so many attackers that can just kill us. So then we have to go to h1. Now, if we go to h1, this is how it'll go. He'll probably check us, we'll move, and then he'll check us again or something like that. But at least we won't get checkmated, okay? So it's better than nothing. So this is how you have to solve problems. When they make a move, you can't respond automatically, because if you do, and you do the obvious choice, they'll also just checkmate you. What you have to do is you have to think it through. Why did they even make that move? Is it safe to take? If I do take, what will happen, right? And then if you decide not to take, you can then move left or right. Keep in mind that the bishop didn't even need to be here for this problem to have happened. So if he can, sometimes they'll make moves like this, and then you'll be super confused. You'll be like, oh, well, he just put his knight in front of my pawn for no reason. I should take it. And then you take it right away and then you lose the game. Don't do that. When they put a knight in front of your pawn, they might have a reason. They might have actually thought it through. They might be like, this is actually a good move because if he takes, it's a trick is what I'm trying to say. It's a trick. So don't fall for stuff like that. Now, of course, usually at the lower levels, they don't pull stuff like that because they don't think of it. But hey, now that you know it, maybe you can think of stuff like that. Maybe you can be like for example, let's say you're versing someone and you decide, you know what? I am going to trick my opponent. Here's how I'm going to trick my opponent. Okay. Here's how I'm going to trick my opponent. If I was white and I was playing someone who wasn't that strong, or possibly even someone who is that strong, a move that I would make is probably this move right here. I'd move my rook right in front of their rook. And this is a trick. This is a very good trick because they will probably be like, oh my gosh, that's a free rook. And he put his rook in front of my rook. So I'm gonna go ahead and kill it. And then what will we do? What will we do if he takes our rook?
Move your rook to b8.
Yeah, and then checkmate, right? Stuff like this is, yeah, a lot of chess is just tricks, just trying to trick your opponent to do moves that they wouldn't otherwise. Of course, they can see the back rank, but they don't see, all they see is a free rook in front of them and they just quickly grab it without thinking, and then you just win the game. So don't fall for them. And if you can, do them to your opponent, because then they're just free wins, right? What else? What else? So we actually have 5 minutes, and I'm trying to think what else I want to teach for this class. Okay, I want to teach one more thing. Okay. If you're white, what should you do? What should you do right now?
Move your rook to h8.
Yeah, it's a back rank mate. Good job. Now, black, let's say, wants to move a pawn up so that he doesn't get lost. He doesn't lose the game when you move the rook to h8. Now, here's my question to you. Which pawn should he move? There's only one right one. There's 3 of them. There's only one right pawn to move. And you got it to solve
The
this.
middle.
So you said the middle one. Okay. Anyone else want to agree with him? Anyone else want to say the middle one? So to solve stuff like this, you actually have to, in your head, move a pawn. It doesn't matter which one at first. Just move it in your head. And then think, what would Ali do? Or what would I do? What would white do when I move this pawn? Well, no matter what, I'd still come down to h8. When I come down to h8, what is this? When you have an important piece and a less important piece behind it. Does anyone remember the name? It's not a
skewer?
pin. Yeah, it's a skewer. A skewer is when you have an important piece and a less important piece behind it. So if you move the middle pawn, I'm going to go ahead and skewer you. Now you can run away to the center, but what will I do next?
You'll take the rook.
Yeah. Okay. So now you know that no matter what, I'm going to skewer you. If you come to the middle, you'll lose a rook. So this one, let's not do that one. So which one should we do? Left or right? Well, let's try right. Can I still skewer you? Yeah, you'll run and then I'll take your rook. Okay, this is not looking good. What about the left? Can I still skewer you? Why not? Why can't I just do this and then take the rook?
Because when the king moves, it's protecting the rook.
Yeah. So here, if you move the left one, not the middle one, the left one, he can't skewer you anymore. Because then you'll just take and then he takes back. So solving problems like this aren't hard, but you have to take them step by step. This was not just a threat on checkmate. It was also a threat against your rook. So 2-on-1 attacks. You got to be careful. Okay, that's it for today's class.